all our 10 months after the initial conversation that we had. So I'm going to kick off with the first question, which is how has this third lockdown, because we are now in our third lockdown, can you believe it? How has that affected you and your mental health? So I don't know if there is anyone that wants to kick off, or I will have to nominate someone if you want to.
I'll go first, I don't mind.
Yeah.
So I think for me, the first lockdown, we had longer days of sunlight. So, you know, it was lighter in the morning, lighter in the evening. So after a day's work, I felt that I had time and energy to exercise. I wanted to exercise because I'd exercised before we'd gone into lockdown. So I wanted to carry on. This time, I'm so fat. I have not exercised at all because the dark nights, by the time I've finished work, I just want to eat a cottage pie or a stew and then sit on my sofa and not do anything. I have no motivation at all this time. And I think part of it is the weather and the dark evenings. But also, I think after 10 months, we're all feeling a bit, I know for me, certainly, I'm just feeling a bit, bleh. I've had enough now. It's really mentally been straining. I'm a very sociable person, for those of you that know me. So I've really missed my friends, the pub, just going out. So I think I've certainly, this time round, you think you get used to it, but actually it feels worse for me this time round. I've really, really struggled.
Is there anyone that's the same? Or?
I absolutely echo what Esther said. I mean, I'm in Lancashire, just outside of Manchester. So we've been in lockdown, well, I think since about May last year. And then it just became kind of the normal habit that the only fun you could have, yes, you could sit out in the garden, was having a glass of wine and making dinner. But that's now become a really regular occurrence. And I think it's almost getting into those really bad habits that I know that Esther's really good. She has 2 days where she drinks a week. I don't think I've had 2 days where I haven't drunk in the whole of COVID. So
I only started in January.
Esther, do you drink for the whole 2 days?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I start at 7 a.m. and then I finish 48 hours later.
Good party.
I think, do you want me to go?
Yeah, please.
I think what I found this time, I totally agree with everything. The dark nights and not getting any fresh air. As about a week now, I think I've looked up and it's been dark. I found this time that the whole family sort of mental health has not been as good. We're really up and down, and we seem to be up and down at different points. So homeschooling, got a 9-year-old, fed up to the back teeth. I'm working full time. My partner's trying to set up his mental health first aid business, but can't get out to actually deliver it. So I found that kind of it's always one of us, you know. It might be my son who just loses it one day, and then the next day it might be me who's feeling really down, and then it might be my partner feeling really down. And I found there's much more acute. I think also when you're in care services, the start of the first lockdown was just so intense, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't even think I came up for air. I had, you know, it was just day after day after day, just getting through and setting everything up. Whereas now it's become more kind of routine, our response to COVID and part of what we do. And everybody knows what they're doing and is getting on with it. It's that sort of intensity has gone. And the more mundanity. I think, Chloe, you said you're in Lancashire, I'm in South Wales, and I'm in RCT, so we've been in lockdown forever. So, yeah, and the other thing I find really hard is seeing my mum, because she's 92, and, you know, that's really, really tricky, because she's lonely, and balancing all that, which everybody's doing, balancing the family connection, aren't you, and seeing your family with the risks. Yeah, so that's me.
Thank you, Rhian. Jeff, how have you been this time round?
I'm probably going to buck the trend a little bit on here. I'm finding it a lot easier. I think because I think what's happening is I agree with Rhian. The first lockdown was so intense that it was like kind of like day after day, and that was the long trudge. You know, and I wasn't being able to take advantage of the great weather, as a lot of you weren't on here. You know, yes, it was okay because the lights were like drawn out and all the rest of it, so I could get on my bike and do a bit of exercise then. But it was really I never really saw the sunlight anyway then. as we've kind of moved through, I think the second sort of, or just prior to the second lockdown, I knew everything was getting a bit, complacency was creeping into the organisation, and I was a bit worried. I could see the potential of a second spike, so that got me pretty working hard again, and a bit sort of not depressed. I don't think I've been depressed through this time, but you know, that kind of alertness, state of alertness, that wears you down as opposed to anything else. The third lockdown, you know, because we're much more on our toes and all of the good practices are ingrained in the work that we're doing at certainly at First Enable, what's ended up happening is I'm able to start now talking about the exciting things again about the business and moving forward. So I'm now having really positive conversations with commissioners about growth, and you know, yeah, COVID's going on, it ain't really going to go away, but come on guys, we need to start thinking about where we're heading as from a strategic perspective, which is all the stuff that actually keeps me quite excited and gets me going, and what I want to get up in the morning and go to work, because I'm now having, I'm an out and out salesman, that's my background.
Really?
So yeah. So I'm expressing it, you know, so everything operational and all that, like kind of trudge work, I've now got out the way. So I'm actually in a different position, possibly, that I'm actually quite excited about the future now. So
that's good. That's good. And what about you, Sheetal?
I think for me, it's definitely a mixed bag. I think there's been elements where it has been really depressing and things are just becoming routine. I mean, how many Zoom calls with your family can you keep on doing? How can you think outside of the box with regards to virtual entertainment, celebrating someone's birthday and stuff like that? And I think I now need to physically see people, you know, going into services is actually breathtaking sometimes, because you actually get to meet people you're working with and see them again. And it's like, oh my God, you've changed so much, albeit majority of the time it's like, yeah, I've actually put on a little weight, but hey, you know, you're seeing people again. So it's definitely a mixed bag, but at the same time I do see there is going to now be some light at the end of the tunnel, and there is going to be that day that I am going to be able to hug my family. And I'm not even a hugger, but I'm looking forward to that time that I can actually hug them again.
Yeah, absolutely. And Colin, what about you?
My daughter had a baby in October. Charlie, his name is, and I've got another grandson called Jack, and having him sleeping over and staying with us and taking him in the zoo and things like that, you know, not Charlie, he's not interested in that yet, but with Jack, so that's been hard, not being able to do that. And I haven't seen Charlie since December the 20th. So you know, he's saying little words and laughing and be sitting up to, you know, and you're missing all that. So that's really hard, really, from a family point of view. You know, my niece and nephew as well, we're really close to them. They're over in Wales, you know, so they might as well be in a fortress, you know. So that's been hard. But with regards to work, I mean, sort of mirroring what Jeff's saying, really. The business is really positive. Our staff, our managers are really positive. I mean, these calls that we have like this, you know, when we have our managers meetings and that, it's all very sort of light-hearted and bubbly, and everyone's sort of positive and telling us all the good things they're doing. And yeah, it is different this time, and I think there is some hope, especially with the vaccine. I think people can see that it's going to get better. We're not as scared as we were. So yeah, a lot more positive. Just wish we can, you know, get back to seeing family. You know, like what Sheetal said, you know, start hugging people again. That'll be nice. I'm not a hugger, but everyone's getting a hug when this lockdown's over. Definitely.
I'm going to be the most sociable person once the lockdown's over.
I just want to go to the pub and hug everyone.
Yeah.
All these reformed huggers like coming out of the closet.
And Steve, please take your microphone off, because you're really good at not turning it off. But what about you, Steve?
I mean, work-wise, it's been an interesting one for me, this lockdown, because I only joined the business in October. So just as we were going into that next lockdown, and you know, it's been a real whirlwind of getting to grips with the business and things for the last few months. So from a work point of view, I haven't really felt the impact of this lockdown. It hasn't felt any different than previous. The main one for me has been more just watching the impact on my kids. because I've got 4 children that range from 5 to 10, and this is a full-time job, so I have to leave my wife really to do all the homeschooling, and that's a challenge in itself for her, and I try and fit in then at the start of the day or the end of the day what I can, and then pick up anything else at the weekend. So from a work-life balance point of view, although it's quite different to where it was before in terms of there's no travel to and from work and all that sort of thing, I find my days just meld into one. So it's a different form of not having the work-life balance, because you just feel like you're on all the time. But more, I think the key thing for it is just watching my kids, and actually I feel sorry for them, because they're just moping around. They're desperate to get out. They're desperate to see their pals and go and play and stuff. And you feel sorry. I genuinely feel sorry for them that there's all these things that they want to do and they just can't do it at the moment. And there's not much we as parents can do, because we can't take them out anywhere to entertain them and keep them occupied. You've almost got to sit at home with them, give them their electronics, and let them do what they want to do with electronics. So yeah, it's been a strange one. I don't feel a challenge in terms of a mental health pressure from it. It's more just that sadness really about the impact that it's having on kids.
Yeah. And I think just before I pop into the next question, just my own views, I think I've had a mix of what everyone said. I miss my family. I want to hug people, even though I'm not a hugger. I love my job, and I'm so lucky. I feel lucky that I do love my job. And like I said to Rian the other day, I don't wake up in the morning when my alarm goes off and think, yippee, it's time to go to work. But for the first time ever after the Christmas period, I could not wait to turn my laptop on and start having a purpose again, because there's nothing to look forward to. But actually all of the things that I'm doing at work, that keeps me going at the moment. There's only so many dominoes that you can have at the weekend that excite you, and they even sent me the wrong order the other week, so I'm boycotting them for a while. But, I think, it's the not having anything to look forward to, not being able to hug people and see people. And I only live with one other person, so we had to get a cat, obviously, because we needed some other life form. Just the two of us, it was getting a bit much. But yeah, I think this.
I don't know if this helps anybody on the call or anything like that. One thing I learned probably in me sort of early 30s, when I suppose sort of got into that kind of work, family, life balance whole thing that Steve was talking about. One of the things I learned pretty quickly in there to keep, because I sort of hark on again, because I was in sales, you've got to keep positive. That's one of the things that you become a very poor salesman if you're not a positive person. And it's quite easy as a salesperson, if you're not doing the sales or something's going right with your life, to impact on your professional career. What I found was that each problem, and I know this sounds very easy to sort of say, but it's a lot harder to do in practice. But every problem that you come across, there's often different ways to look at the problem. So the problem doesn't change, but actually the way that you can look at that problem can change. Now, if you've got the ability to basically sort of step outside that problem, look at it, and then look at it at a different angle, sometimes you can actually find a different solution, which actually helps your mental well-being. So I'll give you an example of what happened to me. So at the time, I was in mortgages. I was selling mortgages. I'd done it for about 10 years, and I was sick to death of selling mortgages. And I thought, you know what, I need to change my job, because that's the only way traditionally you've found I need to get out of this. I'm getting depressed. What I did one day is I woke up and I thought, well, if I go and change my job, I'm still selling mortgages. And 2 months down the line, after I've got out the way of maybe meeting new people and all the rest of it, I'm going to be in exactly the same position. Then I sort of twigged on, hold on, what is it about that move that would have excited me? It's about meeting new people. And every time I did a mortgage, I met new people. So I looked at my job and looked at it from the perspective is I actually get up, not to sell mortgages, but I get up to actually meet people. So what ended up happening was I changed my perspective on the job that I had at that time. And all of a sudden, I had this new form of lease of life. I was tending to work harder and longer because I was actually enjoying going to work and doing the very thing I like to do. Now, if you apply that to the same challenges we've got here, there is a way of maybe looking at, the pandemic that might, you almost need to look at the positives of something that's absolutely horrific and negative in there. That might even be, coronavirus, in my opinion, actually formed a different opinion in America against Trump. So actually, we got rid of the world's worst president at the world's worst time, and actually, coronavirus did us all a big favour. Hurrah, a win! So I've always kind of, if you see where I'm coming from, so each person, if they think slightly different, could actually get out of a situation in the mind if they can just. And I know that's hard when somebody's got, depression or got mental health issues. It's difficult to do that, but that might help some people to look at this slightly different and see the positives. We've spent more time with our families, got to know them better, potentially. As much as, yes, I've seen our own family suffer a little bit, exactly like Steve. I've got a lad who's doing A-levels, who's a nightmare, kind of get him motivated. But at least I'm spending more time, and I've never spoken to him as much as I have done in the last couple of months, positive.
So following on from what Jeff said, which obviously is a bit of a coping mechanism, I suppose, for when you are, you are feeling low or you're not having a particularly good time. I'm just interested to know what other coping mechanisms you guys have gained or you've used before in the past that have worked well through not only just the pandemic and your mental health, but, if you haven't necessarily felt particularly low, then even just curing boredom, because obviously very limited. So I don't know if anyone wants to jump in on that.
Wine.
Did you just say wine? That's your coping mechanism. Brilliant.
This your drinking day, Essa?
No, but go on,
Chloe. Did you have?
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't remember, I think a few have alluded to it. When COVID first happened, and obviously the care sector was so heavily impacted, I felt that my whole world was COVID, and didn't matter if I was a HR professional, it didn't matter what I was doing. I knew the ins and outs of COVID, sat on every COVID call, and it became really almost demoralising that I almost felt like I was like a COVID expert. So I actually signed up to do a degree because I just thought I need to educate my brain with something more than COVID to remind myself when we come out of this what I'm actually meant to be doing for my job. So yeah, I took my exam last week, so fingers crossed that I've passed. But yeah, it was something to do as well in the evenings, rather than just walk down and either go for a glass of wine, which I did do while doing my degree, or just kind of go and watch another Netflix box set. So yeah, I educated myself in my 40s.
What's your degree in?
So I've done my CIPD level 7.
Wow.
Well done.
Well, when I say I've done it, I've taken the exam. Whether I pass or not is a different thing. But yeah, the thought was there.
Absolutely. And what about anyone else? Any other coping mechanisms that you've been using?
Mine's music.
Okay. What sort of music?
Yeah, so I've got like a playlist on my phone and it's happy. It is literally happy. So for the moments when I'm feeling really down in the dumps and reflecting, oh my God, I can't just get away from this COVID, I've just got some real old school music and it's just happy. It just makes me happy and puts me in that happy place. And it kind of makes me forget about COVID and what we're doing. And we've got a rule as well in the house that me and my husband, we don't talk about work after work. You need to have time to just switch off from work. And like Chloe, work is so COVID related at the moment. So everything you're discussing is just about COVID. So yeah, we just do not talk about work after work, so that we're not depressed by the whole COVID situation either.
Sheetal, can you sing us your happiest song?
Oh no. Oh no.
Actually, the other thing you mentioned there, you mentioned social media. That word got brought up. I've took myself off it as much as I can. I found that a real drag on anything positive at the moment.
Yeah, I've done the same. I haven't cancelled my social media accounts, but I just don't look at them anymore. I rarely look at them because I felt the same. And then I sort of had a mixture of lots of what other people have said. Music, definitely, but mixed with cooking. So in my kitchen with the Alexa on, I just love, you know, my weekends now. You know, I would barely be at home on weekends, and now I'm really excited. I plan my weekends about what feast I'm going to make my family. I love it.
Cool. Colin, what were you going to say earlier?
We've converted our garage into a gym. So it's been a dumping ground since we moved in. You know, it gradually got more and more rubbish in there. So when the tips were open, managed to dump a load of stuff and put rubber floor down. Tried my best to get as many bits of equipment as I can on the internet. It's absolutely ridiculous trying to get bits of us. But yeah, I've got a pretty decent gym there now. So what I like to start early working. You know, it doesn't matter what time. I'm not as disciplined as Sheetal. I don't sort of switch on and off. It's just sort of you respond and react throughout the day and night, really. But what I do now is I will walk away from my computer and I'll go in the gym for an hour, like I did today, and I feel much better for it. I feel like it's sort of, you know, relieved all the stress of the morning. It's been a busy morning, but at least I've had a workout. I feel really good.
Good. Yeah, Steve, how about you?
I mean, music is a very big part of my life and always has done. Slightly different genre to you, Cheetah. I'm a heavy metal guy. So yeah.
Did you used to have the hair, Steve? Did you used to
When I was a teenager, I wanted to have long hair because you know, as a teenager through the 80s, so big hair was the thing then, and I wanted to be able to headbang and have my hair go with my head. But clearly I'm an Irish guy. I've got really tight, coarse hair. So whenever I tried to grow it, it just kind of went out. So I couldn't have long hair. I had to just get it short and keep it short. So yeah, music's a big part. The one thing that I found really helpful through first and second lockdown, but not this third one because we can't, is golf. I play golf, and thankfully through the initial lockdown phase, we could actually still continue to play golf. Albeit, you know, it was a lot more socially distanced, but it's funny how you take human contact for granted. Or, you know, those weekends that you could go out with 3 or 4 of your mates and play golf, and you take the pee out of each other whilst you're playing, but you don't think anything of it because it's just something you do. But then all of a sudden, when you can't do it, you can't have that human interaction, and there's this one little gap of 4 hours at the weekend where you can go and spend 4 hours with another person playing golf and having a chat. It was really very helpful. It's sad that, you know, we can't at the minute. I appreciate why we can't do it. But, you know, golf, it can be a very socially distanced thing to do. But yeah, it was a real help through the first couple of lockdowns.
Yeah.
Can I just respond to Steve and say, I've said this before, big hair is not just for the 80s, Steve.
You could do some pretty cool headbanging, Chloe, couldn't you? That would
absolutely.
And what about you, Rian?
Well, things I love to do, I can't do, like swim. I like to swim a lot. But so somebody said to me the other day, you're always in the purpose bit, you know, because I've changed my job. You're always working in the purpose. So you need the bits which are, just give you joy. So I do a bit of stone carving. I like to sort of chisel away, and so that's kind of very absorbing. But actually, the most joyful moments I have are, we have a little borrowed doggy. We do. We're like the foster parents to a small dog, whose owner's got like MS and ME. So we've had him for about 3.5 years, and just being on the field with my son and the dog, it's just that pure moment of joy and fun when you're not thinking about work and giggling, and actually some of those little simple things that I've learned to appreciate perhaps more. And I think getting back to how we are when we'll appreciate, it's a bit like being on a diet, isn't it? And then you go for a fantastic meal at the end of the diet or something, or you have a giant cream bun. It's just like the best thing. But if you'd eaten a cream bun every day for the week, it wouldn't be so special. And I think that interaction with each other and being with each other. It's going to be really lovely when we can do all that again, and all the non-huggers will be hugging, and we're all going to be, so I'm holding on to that as well.
Absolutely. And I suppose for me, sort of my coping mechanism, I've really got into my walking. Surprise, surprise, that's why we've launched the Let's Move initiative.
So that you can win.
Not so I could win, but it's something I can actually partake in. But for me, like Chloe, I haven't gone out and got myself another degree, but I wanted to educate myself and make the most of being on the walks. I've started listening to history podcasts. I now feel like I'm a historian because I can't tell you how many different topics over history I've listened to, but I recommend it's called You're Dead to Me, and you can listen to it on Spotify for free. It's just really good. And I do that every morning before I start work. It's sort of, I get up, because it gets you out the house. I don't like, if it's absolutely chucking it down with rain, I won't go out for a walk. But I hate sort of getting up and then just trotting up to the top room and then immediately just being, stuck at the desk for however long. And I like to get out, and it's like my commute to work. Although I'm just doing one big circle, I'm getting out and then I come back and I'm fresh and I've cleared my mind, or I start thinking about what I need to do for the day, text Dessa about what I'm panicking about or something. But yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that I've done for coping, and sort of trying to keep some sort of routine and not become a slob. I definitely, everyone knows I'm always into my fitness, but we rent, I don't have the luxury, Colin, as you, having a garage. I've got a shed that's about to fall down with some rusting gym equipment, but I'm still, my only rule is I won't train if it's below 0 degrees. But I've been out there with socks on as mittens trying to train, and
get some resistance bands. They're brilliant.
Yeah, I've got them, and luckily my partner's he had a road bike, but we bought one of those turbo trainers. So now our kitchen is just a bike set up in the middle. So yeah, but yeah, for me it's keeping routine, and definitely the walks in the morning have been good. So just moving on to a slightly different question for us all. And Steve, I think you actually touched on this earlier, and it was about having that sort of the work-life, home-life balance with you working from home. You're in the same environment. There's nowhere to escape, and sort of your effect with digital fatigue as well. You probably start off on the morning checking your phone. You then go onto your laptop to do your emails and Teams meetings, and then you finish off the day watching telly, and then you might go back on your phone and do a bit of a scroll on social, and then you do it all again. So I just wanted to know, have you guys
just described my day?
Yeah, there we go. Do you feel like you have suffered a bit with digital fatigue, and have you tried doing anything to cope with that? And do you feel that you've actually changed your behaviour, where the days all do sort of blur into one? I know, Sheetal, you've said you've been quite good with Ravi not talking about work after work. I just wondered what everyone else's experiences were with that. Colin, do you want to? Oh, you are. Oh yeah, you are actually.
I am absolutely terrible. I don't watch TV anyway, so that's sort of the one thing to entertain you at home. So I don't do that. So I have, as much as possible, I get myself out of home, A, because I can't be at home when my husband's homeschooling my son because it drives me mad, and B, to try and give me that separation. So I come to this office and work, and then get home and try not to turn my laptop on, but I am absolutely not disciplined. I'll give myself about half an hour after my dinner and it is back on. So that is something that I need you all to tell me what you do, to give me some hints and tips, because I don't get the fatigue from screens on TV and stuff. I'm just constant on my...
You're the worst.
I know. Rian's already told me off on day 2, told me off.
Trying to support you. I did tell you off a bit.
Yeah.
Opening your emails on your day off. But God, it's a really hard one. In some ways, I really like the digital because, I'm desperate to get out to services, and it's been really odd starting a new job and just meeting you all like this. But, I can't wait to physically meet people and get out to see services and meet staff. But my life used to be a bit of a nightmare before, with the commute and racing back in the traffic to get my son from after school club. Always been the last parent there. Sorry, sitting there like, the morning chaos. Oh my God, we're going to miss school bus. So actually this has been good. But I've got a really supportive partner, but he's got what he calls his shepherd's hook. And after a certain point of time, he comes in and he goes, right, you're out. And then, don't look at your phone. So I think it's just thinking, right, that's done now. Shut the study door, go and spend time with my son, go and have a glass of wine, go for a walk, and just making sure that you do have maybe changing my clothes, just having a demarcation, right, day is done, bong, and resist the temptation to pick up and start scrolling your emails. Esther?
Okay.
I think I am quite disciplined because I think you can fall into that trap. And do you know what? The thing about it is that so you just create more work for yourself, because for every email you send out, you're going to get another 5 back anyway.
I know.
So I think it's kind of like real false economy, and it's about, I kind of have the rule that out of work hours I will only ever email up. So I would only email to the SMT or my boss. I'd never email to my team because I don't encourage them to work. But I also have, since January, started no meeting Friday, which I'm pretty strict on. And I try not to have a meeting because I get, not that I don't love seeing everybody's lovely faces, but I just kind of want to get to that stage on a Friday where my inbox is kind of manageable. So especially on a Friday, even if it's 4 o'clock, 4:30, you kind of think, do you know what, I'm in a really good place. Everything gets closed down. The work phone kind of goes away and you can enjoy a weekend. So yeah, no meeting Friday works well for me.
I've also copied that one from you, Chloe, so, and it's helping, thank you.
Colin and Jeff, it'd be interesting to know with you guys, because obviously you work with your partners as well, and
yeah, I'm the worst at it, really. It's, you know, I'm a slave to the laptop, I suppose, and I don't think my role hasn't changed that much during lockdown. I'm pretty much doing the same role that I was doing before lockdown. You know, if I wasn't doing it at home in the spare bedroom, this is a tiny spare bedroom with washing a maiden thing and everything behind me. I'm squashed up into the corner. We've got a corner desk. I spend a lot of time in here. Emma shares the desk, and we've got Danny as well. So we're all trying to fight over, you know, who can either get into this study area, or you know, you have the table downstairs, and then you're trying to crawl past. Emma was doing supervision before, and I needed to change my t-shirt, so I had to crawl into the bedroom to go and get a t-shirt. Didn't want to interrupt her. But yeah, it's just it's hard, isn't it? Because you need to be quite reactive, I think, in our role. If people need you, then you know you have to respond to that. Being disciplined, like sort of taking a bit of time away from it. And we've got a little French bulldog as well called Boris, and he is loving lockdown. He gets so much attention now. He's never on his own anymore, and he's getting his regular walks, you know, and that's a little escape as well from the that's one thing I do actually. When I take Boris for a walk, I don't take my phone out with me, so I do get that little bit of space, you know, where I can't respond to it. Then you've got it all when you get back to the house. It's the only problem.
Yeah. And what about you, Jeff? I think before, did you mention that you and Sarah don't talk about work together after a certain point? Is that the case?
Yeah, well, I'm a bit like Essa. I've never really been one for television, so we've always filled our space in with talking. So, but not about work. I mean, Sarah and I often, that's probably quite common knowledge, especially anybody who's ever visited our office. We don't always see eye to eye from a business perspective. So, you know, we can have pleasing rows in the office and then quite happily get to the front steps of the house and go, leave that here, you know, we're in there and talking about different things. I think that's the real challenge anyway of anybody that works with a partner, that can spill over and actually ruin any strong relationship. So we set out very early doors on creating some ground rules on that, long before COVID and all the rest of it, you know. So I think that's been easy. I think in relation to finding, one of the things I've always done is I've always found a space in my diary and put it in my diary for what I call like kind of that thinking space. You know, you can get really bogged down, and you know, it's quite easy to get pulled and dragged away. I always sort of set a time aside within a diary to do something, but actually, what's going on in here? which might be horrific to a lot of people, but but it gives us that time to actually think a little bit, helicopter yourself out of the situation and look down on situations, and hopefully provide wisdom and on a situation. So I suppose that's one thing I could probably add to that. And the great thing is, I often do it when I'll take myself off on my bike or something like that, you know, and use that time. So.
Good. Has anyone else got anything they want to add on this particular topic, or I'll move on to our last and final question? Okay. No, good. Okay, I think I'm going to know the answer to this one because we've kind of already touched on it. But what is everyone most looking forward to doing? I can see S's eyebrows raising already. Once lockdown is over, and I'm guessing it starts with a P.
Wow, do you know what? I've got a top three. It is either, although one of them covers two of them. So it's either going on holiday, because I'm a holiday girl. I love my holidays. I work hard to make sure I can go on holiday. Not always with my family, sometimes with the girls. I want all of those holidays back. But the other two is playing rounders. I love playing. I play in a rounders league, and this year it was, or last year's league was cancelled, and it's with a group of my bestest friends. And after the matches, we go to the pub. So that would kill two birds with one stone, because I also can't wait to get back to my little local pub, see all my local friends, and have a pint.
Yeah, absolutely. I've missed holidays so much. I've genuinely started dreaming about it. I keep having dreams almost every night now where I'm in the airport and there's an issue with me like boarding the wrong gate or the flight's gone, or I'm on the aeroplane but there's an issue with the aeroplane, so I never get to the holiday destination. That's how bad I need a holiday. What about everyone else?
Holidays is a big one for me. Yeah, completely like Essa, yourself, work for holidays. The first lockdown, we were stranded in India, and we went there, and we were staying at my mum and dad's house. And my husband and I, this time when we were there, we brought some land, so we're desperate to go back and build our own home in there. So that's like, and we're both always constantly talking about it. So really want a holiday. Plus for Valentine's Day, I brought him a scratch the map. So we've got an atlas of scratch the map of everywhere where we've been and where we're going. So I really want to like scratch off more of the world with him. So holidays is a big one. But the second one is getting drunk with my family. I love getting drunk with my family, and I can't wait to have that opportunity again. Potentially having the second lockdown now, in second birthday of mine in lockdown. So really want to just celebrate with my nearest and dearest. So yeah, really getting drunk with my family. Can't wait.
I think I heard that you would like to get drunk as the I'm taking from that.
There's a theme.
Yeah. Has anyone else got anything obviously other than holidays in the pub? Chloe?
I am waiting to get married. I was meant to get married in 2 weeks, so I've had to postpone for lockdown. So that is key for me. And also, do you know what? Seeing my nieces and nephews, and every one of my friends have children, and it's unbelievable. I mean, they kind of range from like 2 up to 20, but a year in the life of a child, just seeing them on Zoom is unbelievable. So I just cannot wait to actually see how tall they all are in real life and squeeze their cheeks and be really annoying Auntie Chloe again.
I think for me it's because that we want to move, but moving house in the pandemic is incredibly difficult, and I just can't wait for that bit where we've been able to move and back in Manchester, and then I can just have all my friends over for drinks and food, and it's just, and my partner's boys, and just that we're all, there's like, you know, what's the word? Just energy and people coming and going and things, and the people knocking on the door and popping in. That's what I'm really looking forward to. And holidays.
Yeah.
I'd like to ride with my racing team again. I haven't ridden with my racing team since February last year. So that's one thing I desperately miss, is the riding in that sort of group of guys, because the problem is we ride that close, you know, there's sweat and all sorts getting passed around. It's just a breeding ground for COVID, that is, like, so.
Or is it cycling, Jeff?
Yeah, road racing. I've always been into that. So yeah, I've done loads of miles on my own, you know. But actually tonight, because I think was it you, Katie, that said you've got I don't know if you use Zwift, do you?
Use what, sorry?
Zwift?
No? What's that?
Okay, so Zwift is an online training machine, training. So a lot of the guys, like myself, in we've got like a turbo trainer, but it reacts to it reacts to like gradient and wind conditions and all the rest of it. So there's this program that you can all kind of get on, create a ride for yourself. So we've only just realised we can do this. So we're kind of going to be riding. We did one last Thursday, and I've got to say, we went up Alpe d'Huez, which is a famous climb in France, and I think people ski down it as well. But it's a big climb for cyclists. We went up there, and I'm surprised I'm still here. Actually, it was that quick. So I can't wait to get with the guys again, get a bit of fitness up, and yeah, it's that's the bit I miss the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, is there anything else that anyone would like to chip in? Because I think we're going to wrap up for the session.
Sorry, can I just say something? Ian, you remind me of this. I've got a mantra, and I don't know if this helps people, but you know, life is about kind of peaks and troughs. You know, in terms of the good times and the bad times. You know, how can you truly? I've got a little mantra. How can you truly appreciate the good times if you don't know what the difference between the bad times are?
Absolutely. Well, it's like Rian said, you don't want to eat a cream bun every day. Some people might want to eat a cream bun every day, but it won't feel as special if you ate it every day.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
true. My sister bought me a thing once, which was it had a picture of a camera on it. It said life is like photography, because we're both into photography. You develop from the negatives, and it's some of your difficult experiences are some of your most important. And I think it was you, Jeff, or Colin, said that there's been really difficult for a lot of people, and a lot of grief and loss and hard work and anxiety, but there have been lots of positive things that have come out of that. I think it was you, Jeff, you said about Trump, but you know, just in terms of teams banding together, supporting each other, appreciating life. I don't know, there's so many positive things. I mean, for me personally, we've had my partner's given up his job, set up his own company. I've got a new job, we're moving. I can't believe we've done all those things, or we're doing all those things, but it's actually given us the space to, in some ways, to reassess our lives. And I think quite a lot of people are doing that, aren't they? And thinking, you know, what do they want? And so you've got to take the positives out of everything.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for taking part this afternoon. We'll be putting the recording on the app, so that obviously all the people that are unable to join us live, they'll be able to watch that again. So I hope everyone found that useful. I enjoy these sessions. It's nice getting to speak to you guys about something outside of a board meeting, and you know, it's the real us. So yeah, thank you very much, guys, for your time this afternoon. Right, I'm going to stop recording.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
really
you very much.
that.
Bye.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Bye bye.
They all know how much we all drink now on the app to call company. Bye.